Welcome back, everybody. Clash and Conferences podcast. We hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Is looking forward to the new year. Unfortunately, I think most of the teams in this division did not have a Merry Christmas and probably are looking forward to the new year already. So we had, just as a quick recap, we had the Eagles beating the Giants 33-25. We had the Cowboys going down to the Dolphins 22-20, and we had the Washington Commanders going down to the Jets 30-28. In our internal competition, our three categories were most points. That was won by the Eagles with 33 total points. Congrats, Greg. Plus or minus turnovers went to Chris and the Giants at a +1. And the quarterback challenge went to Jalen Hurts with 28 points. For the week, that gives Greg 2 points, Chris and the Giants 1 point. For the season, that puts Greg in the lead at 17 in a very close race. Chris and the Giants have 16. Randy and the Dallas Cowboys have 15. And Paul still pulling up the back at 8. I think you are finally mathematically eliminated from our internal competition. So there is that. I think it's a clear person to start off this week. Greg, you're going to lead off. You got the only win. You clearly did the best on your picks. You had the Eagles winning and covering. You did not get your cover there at 11.5, but everything else you said was pretty on point. You had Miami covering by 1.5. You had the Jets winning that game. You had the Eagles with the points. You had Jalen Hurts with the quarterback challenge. So pretty good week of predictions for you. Why don't you tell us about the only win in the NFC East this week?
Yeah, great. First, real quick, I hope everyone had a great holiday. Real quick, Mike, the quarterback challenge. How did the other quarterbacks fare? I'm just curious to see what their numbers are versus Jalen, who had a subpar game, by the way, but still happened to win the quarterback challenge.
But I mean, 28 points, and I'm going to tell you, I run a game that uses the same point scoring system every week, and 28 points is nothing to be ashamed of, Greg, with Jalen. But other quarterbacks, we had Dak at 20. We had the Washington combination put up 11, and then we had the New York Giants combination put up 13.
Yeah, all right, cool. I was just curious about that. So yeah, the game, I was happy. I had a good holiday. Was able to see Dallas lose, which always makes or breaks my day. Then the next day,
it's not a lot of broken days.
Well, I mean, like I say, I'll say it
broken
again,
backs
like I've been saying it all year. You haven't beat anybody on the road. Zero.
No. Hold on.
No wins
all year long. You were saying I haven't. Hold on.
Competition.
No, you can't just change the narrative midway through the season.
All year
long, you've been saying you haven't beaten a good team. Now you're switching to a good team on the road. Once we beat a good team on the road, we'll pull that up next week, Mike. Put that one in your. Put that.
All of us have been saying it. You got a good team, but you can't win on the road. I've been saying
that's not what you were saying. That's not what you were saying early on this year. You were saying I can't beat a good team.
We weren't saying that you couldn't beat a team with a winning record.
There you
beat a team with a winning record.
Now we're moving the thing down the road.
But speaking of beating teams with winning records, who's the only team in the NFL that has 4 wins against teams with 9+ wins? Just curious. Oh, that would be the Eagles. So we are beating good teams. We're also obviously beating bad teams too.
A lot of football ago.
There's 2 weeks. You're right, and then the playoffs, which we know how Dallas ends up in the playoffs.
They don't have to worry about the 2 weeks.
I said that was a lot of football ago when you were beating good teams.
Oh, it was 4 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago. So anyway, we'll get into the game. The game, it started off great. What can I say? I mean, coming down the first drive, holding them, and then coming down the first drive and going up 7-0, and then the Giants came down and kicked a field goal. I felt good going into halftime. I felt great going into halftime, actually. And then it happened. We made our mistakes that we can't make. We have a fumble on a punt or kickoff punt return, and set them up on what the 10-yard line, Chris?
10 or
Inside the
11-yard
10.
line. Yep.
And Saquon scores. Then I believe I don't know if it was the next drive. Within the next 2 drives, we have Goddard coming out of a break who slips, and then it's a pick 6. And before you know it, our 17-point lead is down to 7 or 8 or whatever it was. And we still have these mental mistakes. We still have these problems. I think overall our defense played well. I mean, honestly, Reed Blankenship when he jumped on that route, and who was it? Shepard that scored that 80, 60 some yard?
Slayton.
Scored on that. Shepard's not even there anymore. Scored on
he's
that
there.
long
He's
run.
just not playing.
He bit on that route, which you can't bite on that when you're up. You just got to play deep coverage and not let them get behind you. So in my opinion, we gave them 21 points. That's how I look at it. You
don't want to do that in the playoffs when you're playing a good team.
No, you're right. You're 100% correct.
A lot of penalties. They're finally calling your false starts, which they could probably call every play anyway. Yeah. You had 9 penalties.
We did have 9 penalties, but the thing
still turning the ball over. You said he slipped, and I didn't. To my defense, on that play when I texted that, I didn't see that he slipped. I thought he threw it a little bit outside. But
he did slip. He fell out of his break. But the thing about that, there's a double-edged sword with
you're up 10. You're up 10, and you're dominating us.
Yeah,
like in that point, and you just need to keep control of the ball. At least get 3. Like you
should have been that close. If you need a couple of my minutes, go ahead.
No, you're fine. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is it was a great game, but it was a frustrating game because some of the mistakes are still there. We're still not finishing games the way I want to finish games. We dominated in every aspect of possession, of time.
Almost 9 minutes more.
Yeah, it's crazy, and yet we still almost lose the game.
Doubled us in first downs.
Tommy Cutlet doesn't come in. Yes, we prepared for him. When he doesn't come in the second half, now we have to go after a running quarterback. How do we do that? We probably didn't prepare during the week. But I'll tell you what got me was when I took a step back and I rewatched the game today. Seeing the turmoil on the team, it scares me a little bit.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Mm-hmm. I didn't notice it as much watching it live, but after the game, Smitty got in between our linebackers coach and Nick Sirianni. We got AJ Brown pouting on the sideline and refusing to talk to reporters after the game, saying, "I'll take a fine. I'm not talking to you." We got Jalen smug as smug can be, just and that little shit,
and really no celebrating. Like they win the game on an interception, and I think it was Rafolio, I can't think it's his name, on NFL Network. He had like a video from the sideline on the field, and they weren't even celebrating. They didn't even look happy.
Well, that's crazy. Part of the reason we're not celebrating is you guys haven't beaten us in Philly in over a decade. Let's be honest.
But you needed to win that game. You needed that game.
We did.
You were fighting for that game.
Well, I think the second half we fought for that game. You're right. I mean, I think Kelsey was even frustrated after the game and had a couple comments at his locker too. So it's, I've been saying it for the last 4 weeks. We'll see what next week brings us. At this point of the year, with the 49ers losing, with Dallas losing, we needed that win more than needed to make a statement. So I think we could have done both, but we didn't. We didn't make a statement. We just won. And then the Niners at home getting their clocks cleaned by Baltimore, makes us realize maybe Baltimore is a really good team. And I don't want to worry about the AFC yet, but it's just getting to the playoffs at this point healthy is all I want to do. But, running out of time here, I'll kind of pass it over to you, Chris, to kind of get your point of view of the game.
There's not
you still got to wait a minute.
There's not a lot to be excited about, man. Like, Cutlass is what he is. He's not supposed to be doing anything. It was fun while it lasted. I don't think he's done. You guys say he's done. I mean,
hey, how are you going to start him next week?
I do have a question, Chris, and it's not a dig, and I promise.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
I saw that he did do 2 copyrights. Tommy Cutlets was one, but was the other? Was it the passing Paisano? I can't remember what it was.
Is that exactly what it was?
I like that one.
I did. Yeah, I seen that too. They has his Rayo spaghetti sauce. They put his Tommy cutlets on there now.
The worst part is I actually like that spaghetti sauce too.
Good for him.
I love that spaghetti sauce.
Good for him. That was the firing that agent, get the off-field agent. He's making some money now, so that's
he
good.
He didn't really fire the agent. He's still his contract agent,
his on-field agent. Yeah.
Which, to be honest, I don't think that's going to help him. I think that he's no Scott Boras or Drew Rosenhaus. He's just going to be a guy that no one takes seriously, unfortunately. So I hope it's not to the detriment of Tommy DeVito.
But with what Gregg was saying, they did game plan for him. He didn't look. I mean, he was 9 for 16 for 55 yards. Taylor was 7 for 16. So we didn't throw the ball a whole lot. Barkley got going in the second half. So the good thing about that, Barkley's been real low lately, 2.2, 2.4 yards per carry. I guess having to worry about a running quarterback. I mean, it's very evident when Barkley and Jones are together. Jones plays better with Barkley. Barkley plays better with Jones. Having Tyrod that can scramble a little bit. Eagles did have to change their game plan up. Barkley got a little more involved. He had 80-some yards. I did like the throw to Slayton. I always liked Slayton, man. I wish we would use him a lot more. I felt like on that last drive, there could have been a pass interference on Wandell. That would have set us up a lot better. And, yeah, I'm still cheering to win. I want to win. At this point, it doesn't matter. But I wanted to get that win and get that off our record of not beating Philly in Philly. But Waller, what was he thinking? I don't know if he thought he could, get a timeout. We didn't have any timeouts. Is there a rule when you have no timeouts and you're hurt? Don't they run the clock anyway? Run 10 seconds off?
It's 10 seconds.
Yeah,
but I don't think he was hurt. He was just I don't think he I don't even think he was pretending to be hurt. I was
confused.
Yes,
he looked confused.
Yes,
but he grabbed his wrist for a second, and then he got up, and then he was looking for the ref. But that was bull crap.
I think he was trying to find a scapegoat when he was mismanaging the time where he needed to get up quick and he didn't. He was like, "Oh crap!
You got to know better than that."
Let me improvise. And I don't think it obviously didn't work.
So you said you think Cutlets might not be the end for Cutlets.
I mean, guys,
you got to look. I mean, there's number one first round drafts.
The bottom line is no, because he's not going to be our starter. Neither one of them are going to be our starter. And why pay Tyrod? Like Paul even says it. He's one of the premium backups in the league. DeVito, they obviously seen something in him. They weren't going to keep 3 quarterbacks. They kept him, work him. He's supposed to be a project. He could be our backup next year. And they might draft a quarterback some point next year. It might not be in the first round. It might be in the second or third round.
There's dudes hanging around like Matt Ryan and freaking Carson Wentz and Trey Lance and
because
the list goes on.
They're done.
I'm just saying they're not done. I mean, they're better than DeVito by a mile and a half.
Look,
the difference is those Wentz and Matt Ryan, they're going to get 7, 8 million, 6 million.
DeVito ain't going to get nothing.
DeVito's going to get 900,000.
But he definitely played he was getting minimal.
Joe Flacco was playing like he had something to play for, and he's looked pretty darn
Joe
good.
Flacco's playing good. Ever since you sent that meme about that guy saying Joe Flacco was the best, he's actually playing pretty good. It's pretty cool. I'm happy for him. I'll hop over the other games. Like I said, the Eagles. I don't want to get off the Eagles yet because I was going to say the same thing, Greg. You hit the nail on the head. This was more about the Birds than it is about the Giants. The turmoil in the locker room, the unhappiness. They're not playing up to the level. You roll into the playoffs like this, dude. They're not going anywhere. They're just not going anywhere in this form of the Eagles this year. It's not how you start; it's how you finish. They started off hot. They look like they're coming apart at the seams to me. I mean, you lost 3 in a row, and then you went down to the last play of the game against a team that's 5-10. It's been beat up all year. It's not a good look, dude. It's not a good look at all.
Hey, win.
Redskins, it is a win. Redskins, you laugh at me about my QB controversy, dude. Sam Howell might be done. I mean, he was lighting it up early in the year, putting up all these yards. What did he do? You laugh at DeVito, 6 for 22 and 2 picks. 6 for 22 and 2 picks for 56 yards. That is horrible. Brissett comes in again, looked pretty good, 10 for 13, 100 yards and touchdown. Almost ruined Paul's Christmas and gave him a win because he don't want to win. I don't know, man. I think you need to just worry about your bottom-dwelling teams are probably going to continue to be there for years to come. Dallas, I'm tired of having faith in Dallas, Randy. I've been backing you. I hate the Eagles. I want you to win the division. I really thought you were going to go out and win this game. Nobody really did anything. Neither team had a run game. CeeDee Lamb had his 6 for 118. Dak didn't play awful, but they're just not getting it done. And they didn't even have Waddle in the second half. So I don't know how you feel, but I'll pass it on over to you. I would like to hear your take on the Cowboys game.
Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul. You shoot first, then I'll go.
Yeah, if we can just insert everything Chris said, but the opposite, that would we could start with that, but I'm not going to go through all of that. I definitely want to see the Cowboys lose. If I could have the Cowboys and the Eagles fans lose, that would be a perfect combination there. But I can't.
And Baltimore win, right? That's what you really want.
No,
you don't want that.
Do not want Baltimore.
Well, Paul, to be quite honest, I think that's kind of what happened. I mean, the Eagles fans can't be happy with that.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
So maybe you got that this week.
No, and I enjoyed the whole week of football because there were so many slots, independent slots where football was. I think I talked about it last week. There's like 9 or 10 slots where there was a game. It was great to watch.
Yeah, that was cool.
But for the Giants and Eagles, a win is a win. You definitely got to win. But like you said, it doesn't really feel like you won. It looks like the Giants kind of lost, and both of you were trying to do the opposite. They were really trying to win, and you didn't really look like you wanted to. But you squeaking these wins out like this, we said that it kind of helps to make you tough for any kind of adversity in the playoffs. But you really are really testing it. And I do see the dysfunction. It's starting to be glaring a little bit, and I think it's only going to get worse because the media is going to is jumping all over it too. And as much as everyone says they don't see it or hear it, they all see it and hear it, especially the young kids.
Well, I can tell you, our local media is going to town right now with WIP 97.5, and even our local sports guys here at Action News and Channel 10 Fox, where you name it, they're just grilling every player, and that's why Devontae said it best yesterday, and that's why I love Smitty. I love his demeanor. I just love how he is as a player, and he's like, listen, we didn't play great. We won. We didn't play great. We got to fix it, and we have 2 weeks to fix it. And if we don't fix it, we're not going to win. And he was just matter of fact, and I like that. It's just that's the way it is right now. So.
I think it starts with your coach, dude. And I always thought he was a little bit of hothead, a little immature, and I feel like he's the reason he's got to get these guys. He has to bring them together. You got to get them to get their heads right before the playoffs. A little adversity, and he's like they're all over the place. And I actually
I take a step back. I take a step back, and I start thinking about it as I'm watching the second game today, and I'm like, what is different? Why are we not creative? Where's this awesome creative offense? And then it's like, oh, damn, that's right. It's up in Indy with Shane Steichen, who is our former offensive coordinator, who now is bringing Indy into the playoffs. And it's
analytics.
It's like, it's difficult because you're a good team, and you keep losing coaches. They keep getting head jobs. So.
I know that's awesome. What I like is being a shit team and losing all your coordinators to be like 10, 12, 13, 14 win Super Bowl appearance, Super Bowl winning coaches. That is that's a good day right there.
Yeah.
But back to your game. I mean, to me, Jalen Hurts looks like he did at halftime against Clemson when Tua took over for him in the championship, like 5 or 6 years ago. Like
who benched him? Brian Dable.
Oh. No, Nick Saban did.
Brian Dable
not been. No. Everybody on this podcast
to you as well.
Everybody on this podcast knows that Alabama.
I don't make shit up.
Nick Saban runs Alabama. Stop.
Had I known this tidbit, I would have.
Just a little fun fact: Brian Dable benched him.
I would have. Yeah, I would have sat on it. That's my bad. That is my bad. I want to apologize to the viewers for that as well.
Was Daniel Jones the water boy that game?
What's that?
No.
Nah, he was beating Notre Dame or something.
Oh my God, no! Jesus, no.
And he did.
So as far as our game,
look it up.
I really hope that we can just start Jacoby Brissett for the rest of the year, just so you don't have to throw the kid out there and then pull him back again. I'm not real sure what happened over the last couple of weeks, but there's something that definitely happened that he looks completely just devastated. But I think he's kind of going to be done for the year. I don't want us to draft another quarterback because we haven't made any changes that's going to help out a new quarterback. So I don't want to sound like Chris, but I'd like to help out with the O-line and some other stuff.
I think you're definitely drafting a quarterback.
You'll have a new coach too.
Yeah. So,
and that usually means a new quarterback. They like to bring their own guys in.
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe the new guy is not even in the draft, so who knows? But we'll see. But I want to get the team right first. It's not completely about the quarterback, but no, it's been pretty embarrassing for sure. But I definitely want to see Jacoby Brissett in there. I mean, shoot, I mean, both games end up putting up 3 touchdowns within like a quarter each time he comes in. So let's just start him out. I mean, it's not nothing. We'll get another backup next year. He's probably not going to be our backup. I mean, if he is, I'm fine with it. But maybe he'll show up and he'll get himself a better gig, a higher paying gig somewhere. But
I got it, Paul. What if Kirk Cousins comes back? And then you could play Kirk Cousins in a part about Kirk Cousins
on the podcast
in Washington on the
that would
podcast.
Be fantastic.
And he's such
Made
a nice
TV.
guy,
Sign
such
me
a team guy, and such a guy for the people. Unlike Daniel Jones, who sits there after his knee gets torn up and is just sitting there with his leg hanging out his bathtub with all the ones, while Kirk Cousins doing charity work the very next day. I'm sure. I bet Kirk Cousins wouldn't be completely opposed to coming on. I mean, I can play Kirk Cousins, but then I can just, Chris Collinsworth, Kirk Cousins right into it and slide right in.
That'd be awesome.
Like it's an NBC game. So
your quarterback next year, I hate to break it to you, but you're probably going to be having Justin Fields. We're getting our 2nd round pick back.
Hey, you know what? I mean, I need somebody that can run around. If we're not going to put an offensive line in front of you, you're going to have to find your own 5 seconds.
That's my prediction.
So,
wow.
I mean, I love Justin Fields when he was in college for sure. I hate what the Bears did to him, but if you've already broken him, we can't do but so much more. I guess physically we could break him, which I guess we could strive to do that. But no, I mean, if we can, I don't have a huge problem with that.
How funny would it be if Daniel Jones sometime ended up in Washington?
Nope. Nope.
I don't want to lose him either, Paul, but I just think
that would be the best thing to happen to our podcast
ever. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, I have to get a new team again. until that wears off. But,
oh, great.
No, and then I mean the Dallas game, Dak looked like Dak. The Dak that we love to watch. I'm kind of glad that there's a little bit of they were picking up some steam. So I do. I mean, I don't want to. I want to be clear. Somebody from this freaking conference is gonna be against the Niners in the NFC Championship, and I think it's going to be the Niners coming out there. I don't care what happened yesterday, but the Cowboys looked all right, but they weren't dominant, and I'm glad to see them taking down just a little bit of a peg. That they did pretty good, but
that's why I go back and forth with him because he didn't really play bad. He just didn't get the run game going. He just didn't get the run game going at all. But neither did Miami.
And I think I was saying that last week that if Tyreek plays, I got Miami. If he doesn't, I think Cowboys. And it was a close game. So I mean, you take Tyreek out of that game. Jalen Waddle got hurt in that game too. He might even play next week. So, if Tyreek didn't play in that game, it could have been a whole different game. I think completely. So, but let's see what you got to say about it, Randy. And keep the water down. Keep the water. You don't have to worry about taking any more sips of the water. We can hear every little plinko hit that it goes inside your body.
So
when
listen,
you're taking that.
You're Washington. No, he's talking to me. You're Washington freaking quarterback, all of you guys. Like Washington, I mean, Sam has played great all year. To think that there's going to be anyone else starting because the last couple of games he's fallen off. He's losing everybody that trained him his first year and this year on that team. I can't see them chalking this up to the end of the year. Yeah, if he plays the first 3 or 4 games of next year this way, like DJ did this year, the beginning of, I'll say there's something to be said. But if I were them right now, I would start Jacoby Brissett, maybe let Howell get a couple reps. I don't see any problem there.
That's the way I see it. I don't want to hurt him. I think it's going to be bad if you keep yanking him. It's not a good.
I don't like the yanking him, but it just seems like he's not in sync with the offense right now. I think they sit him for the rest of the year. I'm going to do a little parlay of your game and my game, Greg and Chris. So, again, Paul just said it. I would love to see the Cowboys win, but the Cowboys didn't play a horrible game. They played a good game against a good team at their home.
True.
I don't feel bad about that loss. That loss, one play, could have been very different of a game. very close to was a very different of a game. But Miami was able to get the first down, get in the field goal range, and kick a field goal. Again, it was a close game. Flip a coin on same teams playing in the same field. That game's in Dallas. It's going to go a lot differently. I'm happy with being competitive with a good team at their home field. I would be very happy if I was the Giants and I was competitive with a team at their home field. And I look at that game and I say, "Oh, leck, you guys sure got to win." But and I don't want to ask any of your opinions on.
You could say the same thing about the Eagles game. If that one play goes one way,
absolutely.
If we don't fumble the second half punt that we
get, sure, Greg.
But 20-3, we go down to score. It's 27.
Here's the difference in a one-score game. Or if your
quarterback don't throw another pick six.
Here's the difference: is in a one-score game, a one-play difference game, we win, you lose. That's the difference. My point to it is, you could have one play goes different. If the time before the last drive, instead of going 3 and out, the Giants would have went down and scored a touchdown. It would have been a totally different game. If they would have stopped you on one of your fourth downs, it would have been a different game. I mean, you guys go for it on every fourth down. It's like someday you're going to get caught with your hands in someone else's candy jar trying to go for it a fourth down. My point is, I look at it.
I both teams say pants.
He just mixed up like 4 phrases into one.
I hope Steve can get that. That's the name of the podcast. That's the name of the episode. Whatever.
All I'm saying is, you know what? The Cowboys lost, but that was a good game, and I was proud of the way we played. Sure, we could have played better, but Greg, if I'm sitting where you're sitting, I'd be much more worried than sitting where I'm sitting right now. I would ask Paul's opinion. I would ask Paul's opinion if the Giants are a better team than Miami, but he's a closet Eagles fan, and I'm sorry, but you're a Giants fan, so I can't ask any of you guys. Mike, maybe I could ask you, who's better, Miami or the Giants?
You can ask anybody that question.
All right.
Miami.
Okay.
He's definitely a contender this year.
My point is,
the Eagles beat both of them.
You still didn't say it, though. Is Miami a better team than New York?
Yes, absolutely. This year they are.
Okay. All I'm saying is, in 100%. The end of it, we got a home game coming up against Detroit, which we have killed everybody at home this year.
Oh, you admit it now, finally. Okay.
Yes, I'm saying I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying you've changed the narrative all year long. And then we're going into Washington, which we're probably going to be playing Jacoby Brissett, and I'm not that worried about it. I would be worried if my team had just almost lost to a second and third string quarterback that we're trying to tag team your team. But for me, we're making the playoffs. In fact, I still could see us maybe even getting a number 1 bye because you guys are going to lose to the Giants when you go.
There's no way you're getting a number 1 bye. Only one team gets it, and that's 49ers.
I think they're going to lose again.
I think the Niners are okay.
I was waiting for the parlay. I'm not sure you understand that term.
All I was saying, the parlay of both games being looked at as a whole and saying which team, it's not a bet. It's just looking at both games as a whole, being proud of one game in that parlay.
Of our teams.
There you go.
What he was doing.
A 3-team hit.
This is actually kind of scary.
See, there we go.
Yes.
There we go. You guys got to open your mind from old man mentality to this newer, younger hip thing.
Still.
But anyway, that wraps it up for me, Mike.
Yeah, Cowboys, talking about parlays, were the only underdog NFC East team that did not cover this week, so that parlay would have lost.
So you really think you're going to jump from the 5th seed in the NFC all the way to the 1 seed?
Not really, but I think there is a chance. I think there's a good shot that you lose to the Giants at home in Meadowlands, and I think that we're probably going to win out. Now, San Francisco, was this the start of what the Eagles had their 3-week lull? Is this the start of that? I don't know. That'll be a big kicker, but
who all got hurt last night? Purdy got a stinger again. They said he's okay. They said he could go back in. I don't know how much I'd buy that, but it's possible. They were down 3 scores. Did somebody else get hurt last night? I thought somebody did.
I don't know. I've been saying all year I just want to see the past 3 weeks, San Francisco take a loss, and they finally took a loss. That was good to see.
Well, I think that'll wrap up the first half of the show. We'll be back soon. Start looking forward to next week's games.
Right.
All right, welcome back. We are looking forward to week 17. Got 4 fresh games going on for the conference. We got Philly hosting Arizona Cardinals, and Philly is favored in that game by 10.5 points. We got Detroit going down to Dallas. Dallas is favored by 6 in that one. We got Washington hosting San Francisco, with San Francisco favored by 13.5. And we got the Giants hosting the Rams, with the Rams favored by 6.5 in that one. We got a fresh wheel this week. All of our categories are reloaded, so we're going to get 3 more categories for our internal competition. Just 2 weeks left in a very tight race here, with Gregg at 17, Chris at 16, Randy at 15, and Paul out of it now at 8. So let's get that wheel spinning. We'll get our first category up for the week here.
Greg, did he say that Eagles game was in Arizona?
No,
that's in Philly. We're all home.
Longest touchdown, any single player, is going to be our first category. Always a crapshoot. Let's get a second category up here.
I think next week is it the first week where all 4 of our teams play each other? So there's just 2 games for us?
Really? Interesting.
Yes, that's true.
I think that's the first time.
Prop bet, host pick.
Ooh, on the spot. What do you got?
Yeah, I came early.
I think we're going to go right back to the first one that we ever used. I think one of the most fair, anybody can win it, prop bets. We're going to go against the spread. Your team covers the spread this week, you will get a point in the competition. Let's get one more category for our third one here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. We appreciate all those likes and subscribes. Third category is going to be turnovers, back-to-back weeks for turnover plus or minus differential. So your quarterback throws a pick, you get a -1. Your defense gets a interception or a turnover, you get a +1. Biggest differential at the end is going to get the win. Paul, you're out of it, so why don't you go ahead and take your probably last opportunity here to lead us off.
That'll work. I do have a question for you, Chris. Are you going to the game?
I am not going to the game this week.
Okay.
You going to yours, Paul?
No, I am not going. I am not going to ours.
Nah, I made my buddy split the tickets. This is his week.
No, I will be partaking in lots of debauchery for New Year's Eve instead. So, looking forward to that. As far as our game, I'm looking forward to watching it if Jacoby Brissett can get the start. I was over at my mom's helping her with Thanksgiving or Christmas Eve dinner. I guess it was kind of in the afternoon, but at like 1:20, we had already turned off the TV. It was already 17-0. So I'm like, thank God that the Lions and Vikings were playing. But I just want to see what Jacoby Brissett. I want to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit and kind of end on a high note with a couple of wins. If not, at least some moral victories. Like at the end of the game, if you look at the score at the end of the game, both of them were really close, and could have actually won. So I'd like to have us in that position from the get go, where you're not already starting down.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. So I am looking forward to this game. As far as the stats on that, I think we can cover. I think we can cover on that. I don't think that's out of the realm if we can get Jacoby in there. The last 2 he's come in midway through have been well within that spread, and Rams have been up and down. They're still in the hunt, so they are pretty hungry. Of course, I'm talking about the wrong team that we're playing, but the Niners. I'm hoping that I think we can, possibly crack the spread. But if we don't, if Sam Howell starts, it literally could be 30-0 by the end of the first quarter, where it's going to suck. So I'm hoping that for the morale's sake that we can get Jacoby Brissett to start.
I'm kind of hoping that San Fran started a losing mentality last week, and it carries over for a couple of weeks, and maybe you guys pull out a W.
You never know. With this one you kind of do, but for the most part, you never know. When a team is coming back, we would talk about the Eagles, like, oh, well, what are they going to look like the next week after they lost? And we're like, well, they're going to come out Gregg thought they would come out hungry. Sometimes they come out a little hungrier than others. And there's but some of the best teams, the last couple Super Bowl winners that had 3-game losing streaks. The people who have been in the Super Bowl have had 3-game losing streaks. So, it'd be nice if the Dallas could end on one so they could join that category. I think that would be pretty fun. But no, your game against who were you even playing this week? You got a good game. Well, Detroit. The Lions have a good game. Yep. At home with all the other ones. I think that's going to be a great game. I'm glad they have that pretty much as like a primetime game. It's like Sunday night, but on Saturday. So I think the spread is probably where it should be with the home field advantage. I think Dallas may still have been favored, but maybe like by 1 or so if it was in Detroit. But I think that's going to be a good game. I don't think that Dallas is going to cover the spread though. So I am taking the Cowboys in the spread on that one, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys win for sure.
Paul, I noticed a little smirk on your face when you say that. Last time someone predicted against the Cowboys was Chris. He had a little smirk when he predicted the Chargers were going to beat them, and I just noticed that same smirk on your face there.
Well, I mean, I am absolutely not rooting for the Eagles, but I am absolutely rooting against you. So, with that being said, you could, if they win out, if they win out, it doesn't matter what the hell you do because you're still not, they still get the home game in the playoffs. So, somebody's going to get a real tough game, a real second tough game in the playoffs. So that's when you guys can have your little tune-up in the first round, but somebody's going to get a banger in that second round most likely. As far as the Giants and the Rams, I don't think the Giants are going to win. The Rams are really they're really in the hunt, and they've been playing better recently too. Kyren Williams, I mean, the Rams were the death of me this week in fantasy. I played against Puka and Kyren, and by midnight on Thursday, I was down by 50. So Kyren Williams can put it on you real quick. But with those receivers and Matt Stafford having himself a time again, they can put it on you quick too. And before you know it, you'll be down 2 or 3 scores, and then you're just trying to crawl back in there. So I don't think that it's going to be a close game. I really think that they cover the spread 6 in that game. I know it's a home game, but I really don't think that the Giants pick up that spread. I do think the Eagles are going to pick up their spread. I think they're going to obliterate the Cardinals at home. I think it's definitely going to be well into the double digits. Unfortunately, though, that's what I said about the game against the Giants too. So we'll see what kind of Eagles team walks out on that field for the full 60 minutes. If you have a repeat of that, you could have a close game and just spend more time, than you really need to trying to get that win. I think that there are going to be 2 good. I think there's going to be 1 good game, and I think there's going to be 3 blowouts. Very potential. So, but I'll throw it over to Chris. I want to hear what he's got to say.
A little different, Paul. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys. This will be the last time, Randy. This will be the last time I put my faith in them. I think they'll bounce back. I think they'll play good at home. I think they'll play well at home.
If you're going to break up with them this time, if they let you down.
No, because I'm just that like you said, you're not rooting for the Eagles, but you hate the Cowboys. I'm kind of the flip flop with you with the Eagles and the Cowboys. I'm gonna admit it. I'd rather the Cowboys win the division. I think I think overall they are still a better team, and I think they can bounce back. They had a tough game on the road last week. There's no shame to lose that game. I mean, it was a good game. You're playing against a contender, but I think you'll beat the Lions. I like what Campbell's doing there, but you're playing at home. I think you'll win, and I think you'll cover. So you'll win the game, and you'll get a point for the spread. Eagles, Cardinals, I really don't know what to think of them. They're back and forth. They haven't been playing well, even with the win against us. I mean, they could have lost that game. I'm not going to be like Randy and say we're going to beat them the last week. I think we're going to try to beat them. Dabes was really pissed off after that game. He came in hot. It was crazy if you guys didn't see it. I'm sure you didn't see it, but he came in post game, was like, "What do we got?" Threw his shit down, and he was like, "Merry Christmas, everybody." They're still playing for him. That's why I don't have a loser mentality. I want them to win. There's nothing to gain from winning except for the fact we're going to keep. I like our coaching staff. I want them to play hard for him. I don't want him to give up on them. I don't want them to give up on him. I think we can run it back next year with DJ.
We
add some
all
pieces.
want you to have the same coaching staff next year.
Yeah, we definitely do.
We want DJ to come back.
Just not Bobby Johnson. You get rid of Bobby Johnson, I'm happy. I don't care.
Who's that? Like your special teams coordinator?
Bobby Johnson is our offensive coordinator. And you guys got 1 sack. You really let me down. I thought you would get 2 to break the record. It's
Chris,
crazy.
You just made me think of something. Are the Giants, I mean, I know we're talking next week. Week 18, are they going to start their starters even?
I think they will. I think they're going to go out and keep sticking to the grind and keep playing and keep learning and keep growing. We're a young football team, man. We're one of the youngest. So we got an explosive defense.
Don't forget you're one of the best defenses.
We are. Too. There's a reason why I got the points I have, and that's why I got happy when I saw turnovers. I like the turnover differential. I think, except for when they make me look like an idiot when they come out and play the way they did against the Raiders and the way they did against the Saints. They come out playing the way they did
next week.
I think they can beat the Rams. I honestly think they can beat the Rams. Paul's right. Rams are decent. They got a good offense. We got a good defense. We can match up with their receivers. We match up with your receivers. I think we can. Put it on Matt Stafford a little bit. I think as a homer, I'm gonna go with the Giants. I'm gonna say we're gonna cover the spread, and I think the Giants are gonna get a point on the turnovers. That's what we'll get this week. Skins. Wait, I gotta go back to the Eagles game. Eagles Cardinals. I do think the Eagles are gonna win. I don't think they're gonna win by 10.5. I think they'll win the game. They're not gonna cover. Against the spread, then, the Cowboys will get a point and the Giants will get a point. I think the Redskins are going to lose. I think they're going to lose by probably 14 or more. I think the 49ers are not going to do what the Birds did. I think they're going to come back and lay it on them. They know they can do it. They're not happy the way they got embarrassed on that primetime game against a team that they could potentially be playing in the Super Bowl. I think they'll bounce back as long as Purdy's all right. Prop bets, I think I covered that. Skins won't get it. Giants will, Cowboys will, Eagles won't. I'm good.
You want to jump in, Randy?
Sure. So I know you're really a big fan of your defense, Chris, but allowing the Eagles to score more than they've scored in the past 5 weeks doesn't say you matched up that great against the Eagles. But, again, talking about spreads and
9-minute time possession, buddy. Same thing I've been saying. They just can't. We can't sustain drives. DeVito was not sustaining drives in the first half.
Well, talking about spreads, I can't. I think that the Eagles are still struggling. I think you guys played a very unput together team at home. I don't think the Cardinals are that bad anymore. I think they're actually playing half decent. I think the Cardinals give you a run for your money. Giants, Rams, I think that if Tyrod starts, I think the Giants are going to have a good chance that makes that a closer game, pretty close game. Same with Brissett. I'm kind of hoping, this is my heart here, I'm hoping that Washington can actually make that game interesting with Jacoby Brissett. Maybe San Francisco's on a little bit of a spiral right now, maybe not. I'm hoping it can, so I'm going to say Washington covers, Dallas covers, Giants cover. I'll never say I'm thinking the Eagles are going to cover because I just don't see it. In the end of it, longest
good
touchdown.
Parlay.
There's a parlay. You gotta go with my man. You gotta go with my man CD Lamb for longest touchdown.
I forgot to add that. I'm gonna agree with him. That's the part I forgot.
What was the other one?
You know why you're gonna agree with him? Because when Steve started this podcast, he started with 1.5 Dallas fans. He had no clue what was going to happen with Randy, but just in case, because he's only been a fan of the Cowboys for 3.5 years.
I don't want to hear
to make sure you at least got another half of a fan of Dallas.
Listen, this is a guy who hates everything about Washington and always cheers for the Eagles. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it from you. Okay. Every time we're talking about Washington, it's what
that's fair analysis.
There we go. So,
and he's only been picking them the last couple of weeks as I've been beating him up about his loser mentality.
What's the third one? It was longest touchdown spread. What else?
Turnovers plus or minus.
Turnovers. Dang. I mean, I don't know. Flip a coin. I'm not even going to go into that one. The Cowboys are playing so good defensively, and now I don't know. I just don't like it. All that being said, is it will be interesting if the Giants come out and try and play the last week, because obviously, if the Cowboys win and the Eagles win this week, the Cowboys are definitely playing Week 18 for the NFC East or the NFC, depending on what happens to San Fran. So it will be really interesting if the Giants don't start a team the last week. it basically gives the Eagles that NFC East.
I wouldn't say that.
I don't think
what
we
would
will,
you
man.
say?
Well, I mean, it's like Chris said. They're not going to sit anybody.
I don't think we'll sit anybody
because they want to keep their coaches. They want to win. They don't have the mentality just to do that. It's not that weak.
They're not Washington.
A lot of that last week comes down to draft slots too, guys, which we don't know yet.
Also true.
Well, and not getting your Saquon hurt, not getting one of your great players hurt. Like, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think you just said they're a great player.
I would buy that before I would buy
Mason Crosby.
That's right. Oh my gosh, he was so amazing.
You guys got a kicker. You guys got a good kicker finally.
He did. Yeah. Gano is a good kicker. He just got hurt.
It was
Yep, sure.
We had a good kicker all year until.
Do you guys have any good offensive linemen?
Yeah, Andrew Thomas.
Stop. Listen, I'm going to go
Greg,
into everything now.
There it is.
It's too early for the Dom shit. Greg's got to finish.
Yeah, I got to finish.
Yes, I'll answer the question.
Listen. I didn't use any of those excuses. I didn't use the fact that we didn't have our left guard out there. So I didn't even go into my excuses. So we're not going to talk about O lineman being out. I will remind you, we gave you 21 points. So I think that, we take a step back. We don't fumble that punt start or the kick or whatever it was, the start
of the game, man.
Third quarter. It's happened. A different game. It did happen. And that's why I'm saying next week it won't happen. I think we roll on Gannon. I got the Birds winning by more than 10.5. Cardinals coming in from the West Coast. They're coming in for a 1:00 game on the East Coast. I think we just put it to them. I think parlaying that with an A.J. Brown longest touchdown, just because of the week that we're having right now.
The squeaky wheel theory?
Squeaky wheel theory at its best.
You better hope they don't try to force it to him and he throws another pick.
They will force it.
Greg,
they will.
How long do you think it's been since the Eagles covered their spread?
It's probably been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah, it probably has been. But, it's bound to happen one day this year, right? So that's why I'm taking it. I'm also going to take Detroit +6.
Not out of spite, though. Not out of spite.
Not out of spite. They're going to win.
But I think it's going to be a close game. I think Dallas will win, but I'll take 6 points. I think Dan Campbell is going to run and run and run and run some more. I think that he's trying to get that number one spot, like we all are. So I think they're going to go down to Dallas and play a tough game. I do think Dallas will win because it's in Dallas. Again, I will reiterate, you cannot beat a good team outside of Dallas. It is what it is.
This is the first week you've actually said that.
No, it's not. I've been saying
it. Oh, yes, it is. No,
we're going to pull the tape. We will. We'll figure it out.
It was clearly that we can't be a good team. Now it changed when we started beating good teams, and it says outside of. All
right. I think Chris's theory on the Niners is 100% spot on. I think they're embarrassed. It's potentially a Super Bowl preview, and Lamar just came in and won the MVP. I think they're pissed, and I think they're going to take it out on Washington. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter who your quarterback is. So I'm taking the Niners -13.5. And I think the Rams are playing for a lot, and I think they're going to come in and they're going to beat the Giants by more than 6.5. So I'm taking the Rams there, which means prop bet. Philly's the only one that gets a point on the prop bet. Longest touchdown, A.J. Brown, and then turnovers. I am going to say that
don't even do it.
The Eagles are going to win that battle.
Oh my God!
Are you only giving longest touchdown to A.J. Brown because he cried because he's whining?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's going to be I'll actually even tell you the play. I think it's going to be a slant route that he catches over cover 2D and they catch him deep.
Very specific.
Very specific. Yep.
Greg, Eagles had 4 fumbles last week, but only 2 of them ended up in turnovers. You guys are like fumbling machines this year. They still make Jalen practice falling so he doesn't fumble as much. How can you say you're going to win a turnover differential? I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but yet still.
Listen, when you're winning this competition, you can afford to go with your heart on a couple of these.
There you go.
Hey,
there you go.
Randy, to your point on that, you also pointed out. I looked back after you said it. The Eagles haven't covered since week 11. There was one push in that amount of time, but now Gregg's saying in this particular week the Eagles will be the only team to cover. So
that's my point.
I think it's funny stretch.
I think it's great how we all twist it in our favor. I'm down a point, but I got us getting 2 this week. It's good.
I'll tell you what. That's what happens when you put your fingers in a cookie jar. I'll tell you that.
Don't eat Paul's cookies.
I bet you wrote that down to make sure you read that right.
I don't want no comment. No comment.
with crayons.
All right, I think that'll wrap up our week 16-17 show. You guys, good luck to everybody. We're getting down to the wire here, both in the internal competition and also with Dallas and the Eagles here fighting for some playoff positioning. So good luck to everybody this week, and we'll see everybody next week.
Fun.
All right. Hey, G-Man.
Go Cowboys.